All right, today we're going to connect some dots, and they're pretty big ones. We'll go from a tricky political promise in Britain to what the price of gold is telling us about the world, all the way to the flashpoints that could, really shape our future. So let's jump right in. And it all kicks off with this simple phrase: promises, promises. It really gets to the heart of a huge problem for leaders everywhere, right? I mean, what do you do when the things you promise on the campaign trail smack right into a really painful reality? So, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with Britain and a broken promised economy. Then we're going to zoom out and read the global mood. After that, a quick look at the major flashpoints and fault lines. Then we're on to the race for the future, and we'll wrap up with some of the huge global challenges looming just ahead. Okay, so our first stop is the UK. You've got a new government there, and they're facing a really tough choice. I mean, it's a classic dilemma. Do you keep the promises you made to get elected, or do you do what might be necessary to fix a pretty shaky economy? So, what's the deal here? Well, the British economy is, let's just say it's on shaky ground. We're talking years of slow growth, made worse by Brexit and just this constant uncertainty about policy. And what happens? Investors get nervous, employers hold back, and that lack of confidence, it's not just a statistic, it's like a brake pedal being slammed in the entire economy. And this puts Sir Keir Starmer's government at a major fork in the road. Path number one is the bold approach. You break a campaign promise, you raise taxes to get the country's finances in order, and you basically send a giant signal to investors that you're serious. Or there's path number two, the timid approach. You dodge the hard choices, kind of hope for the best, and just risk letting all these problems get worse. And as The Economist points out, that second path, well, that can lead to a whole lot more trouble later on. You know, that feeling of economic jitters in Britain, it's not just a UK thing, not at all. It's actually a piece of a much bigger global puzzle. And believe it or not, you can actually take the temperature of that worldwide anxiety just by looking at the price of one single ancient metal. So that leads to the billion-dollar question, right? Why is gold, the classic run-and-hide asset, suddenly on fire? I mean, what is the market so spooked about? Well, the answer is not great. It's actually pretty unsettling. This huge surge in the price of gold, it points to a really deep loss of faith in all the usual places people put their money: stocks, bonds, even currencies. It's a mad dash for safety, and it screams that there's a big fear of what's just around the corner. Think about it. When everyone starts hoarding gold, it's basically a massive vote of no confidence in what's coming next. So what's causing all this anxiety? Okay, let's pivot from the economic tea leaves to the geopolitical reality. Time for a rapid-fire tour of the world's hotspots that are really fueling this fear. First up, Israel. So The Economist is reporting something really interesting. Even while the country is showing its military strength in Gaza, back home, it's dealing with this huge psychological fallout. We're hearing about surges in national trauma, rumblings of internal rebellion, even more people looking to leave the country. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that winning on the battlefield doesn't just automatically mean you've won peace of mind. At the same time, over in the US, the Supreme Court is tackling a massive question about power. There's a case involving Donald Trump, and it boils down to this: can a president just deploy the National Guard whenever they want? Now, this isn't just some dusty legal argument. No way. The decision here could literally redraw the lines of presidential power. Most folks watching the court think the justices will probably say no to that kind of unchecked authority, but we'll see. Okay, so beyond the conflicts happening right now, there's a whole other kind of battle going on. It's a race, really. A race to control the tech and write the rules for the future. Let's talk about something called the quantum edge. And no, this isn't just about making computers that are a bit faster. We're talking about a game-changing, massive strategic advantage for any country that masters quantum computing first. Britain is pouring a lot of money into this, hoping it's the key to unlocking insane breakthroughs in, well, everything, from designing brand new medicines to creating codes for national security that are literally unbreakable. And then there's AI, which is creating all sorts of new legal nightmares. I mean, you've got the big guys, Google, Meta, OpenAI. They're all getting sued because their chatbots are apparently making up nasty, defamatory stuff about people. This is totally new ground for the courts. It begs the question, who's on the hook when a computer program tells lies about you? All right, let's zoom out one last time and look at a couple of huge global challenges. And these aren't some far-off, futuristic problems anymore. They are happening right now. First, we have what The Economist is calling China's creepiest export. And we're not talking about cheap electronics or clothes here. No, this is about the actual tools and methods of a state security apparatus, surveillance, control, the whole shebang. And other countries are lining up to buy it, which, as you can imagine, raises some really scary questions about digital authoritarianism spreading across the globe. And that leads us to a really stark milestone that's right around the corner. In 2026, the world's first official climate refugees are set to arrive in Australia. They're from the island nation of Tuvalu, which is literally sinking. This is not a drill, it's not a what-if scenario anymore. This single event is going to force the entire world to wrestle with some incredibly tough questions about what sovereignty even means, about citizenship, and who's responsible in the age of climate change. And we're going to end in Ukraine with a question that really looms over everything we've talked about. There's this brutal year-long battle for a town called Pokrovsk. If it falls, it's a huge moment. Does it give Vladimir Putin an opening to declare some kind of victory and look for a way out? Or does a taste of success just make him want more? Honestly, the entire world is holding its breath, waiting for that answer.